Okay, not that I mean to worry any of you at all, but what I'm about to tell you, I think is actually quite terrifying. It's going to affect quite a lot of people out there. And that is because, and there's a new report saying that apparently over 1,500 schools are just a short walk away from migrant hotels. And understandably, that has got parents feeling pretty anxious about letting their kids out. The study, called Schools on the Front Line by the Women's Safety Initiative, the WSI, is all about migrant hotels and their proximity to schools. And it found that 1,539 schools are within a 20-minute stroll of these accommodations, and 393 are even closer, just 10 minutes walk away. Take Ellie Hodges, for example. She's a 17-year-old from Broxbourne, Hertfordshire, where there's been a migrant hotel nearby, and she told the Express apparently that she's always on high alert and said, "We don't know who they are, what their past is, but also the authorities don't either, and the people that are meant to keep us safe just don't." But why is that then? I mean, surely the police and whoever else are meant to keep people safe, aren't they? Well, apparently this is after a recent sexual assault case in her area, and she's really worried about safety. Ellie is urging the government to rethink placing migrants near schools, calling the whole situation ridiculous, and I personally think she's right. And if you think about it, yes, these guys, quite a lot of the time, seem to have very slippery fingers, don't they? Dropping their expensive iPhones, maybe ID documents and whatever else into the sea, unfortunately on the way over, which kind of makes it very hard for us to know what crimes they may or may not have committed. But not only that, a lot of the time, depending on where these people come from, certain cultures and countries have a very different attitude to women than what we do. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, from what I've heard, they're treated in those other countries like slaves or objects or pieces of meat, which I personally think is disgusting and disgraceful. And for anyone who thinks they can do that to our women is going to be a very dangerous worry for quite a lot of people out there. But she also mentioned that her school hasn't talked about hotel or safety issues, so she is quite bravely, in my opinion, taken it upon herself to educate her friends. Then there's Ola Mahareen, I hope you pronounced that right, a mum of 3 from Epping. She is scared to let her kids go out, especially after an illegal boot person from the Bell Hotel was charged with assaulting a 14-year-old, and now she doesn't let her 17-year-old daughter take the bus or to school alone. And Olga said there's been an increase in men who will go over and they'll talk to her and whoever knows what else. And she is also worried about her 11-year-old son too, who's just started secondary school and wants to walk home by himself. And she told him, "Yeah, but you're not as big as the men that could get you," which is quite right, isn't it? People shouldn't have to live in fear. They should have never been allowed to be put up in 4-star hotels, in my opinion. Not only is it absolutely ridiculous that that was even allowed, but it's an utter disgrace, in my opinion. The government should have sent them straight back, but of course they didn't, because all lefties on Twitter maybe or whatever else. And now, unfortunately, we are feeling the consequences of it all, aren't we? Although apparently says that if someone is on the sex offenders register in the UK, it's public knowledge, and schools should be warned if they're not already. She's not saying that every migrant is a potential offender, but she is concerned about the unknown risks. She suggests that migrants should be housed in secure areas until their asylum claims are processed and, very importantly, background checks are done. The WSI is asking the government to restrict where illegal migrants can live, especially near schools or childcare places. They also want more policing and security around accommodations, with each facility being publicly reported. And Jess Gill, the founder and director of the WSI, believes that political convenience is being prioritised over school safety. And she mentioned that many parents are worried about men loitering outside of schools, and that is creating a very scary atmosphere because, yeah, I mean, why are these guys hanging around schools in the first place? Creates a bit of a very Jimmy Savile vibe going on there, doesn't it? And surely they wouldn't exactly have any excuse for it if they were challenged. Personally, I think it might be a good idea if you have a few more policemen walking the street and doing patrols of those schools and questioning any of them who are hanging around. And yes, that will cost a bit of money, but I personally think people's safety is worth that, especially our kids' safety as well. She also pointed out that crime figures linked to migrant hotels are alarming, with serious offences like rape and sexual assaults being committed. And get this, official data shows that 312 asylum seekers have been charged with 708 alleged crimes within the last 3 years, including rape, sexual assault, theft, assault, drug offences, burglaries, robberies, and a partridge in a pear tree. Jess Gill also highlighted that many men in migrant hotels came from countries with high rates of femicide, where practices like forced marriage and female genital mutilation are common, which is out of order in my opinion. She questioned why we should assume that they leave these attitudes behind when they arrive in Britain. And so far in 2025, over 31,000 migrants have crossed the channel, the highest number since 2018, which kind of pees all over Starmer's Security Border Force Command, which is anything but in my opinion. And the number of migrants living in hotels has also gone up by 8% over the last year, now totaling 32,059, of which we know about, remember. Who knows how many have run off into the distance. The Home Office has also been asked for comment on all of this, but to be honest with you, I reckon they're going to be very tight-lipped. But anyway, what do you all think? Let me know down in the comments. I'll be back very soon with some more videos, so make sure you click that subscribe button down here so you don't miss my next one.